Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project through our nonprofit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Joshebet Isaacs, and it's so nice to see you again. This series is our 24th Autism at Home series, and it's all about functional communication. And in this lesson, we will be talking all about using PECS to communicate. Now, PECS stands for the Picture Exchange Communication System, PECS, and was developed by Laurie Frost and Dr. Andrew Bondi in 1984. Wow, exactly 40 years ago this year in 2024. And it is an amazing visual communication tool that has been used all over the world for decades. The main objective of PECS is to teach children with autism a self-initiating functional communication system. This method starts with the exchange of picture cards to request for an item and then gradually moves on to building sentences. You can find out much more about PECS on their website, their YouTube channel, and we would definitely encourage you to purchase their manuals and attend the PECS trainings. This lesson is just a short introduction to the concept of PECS and how we utilize it at EAP. Essentially, there are 6 phases of PECS in the curriculum. They are learning how to communicate, distance and persistence, picture discrimination, sentence structure, answering questions, and lastly, commenting. From our experience at EAP, the first 3 phases are really important to teach the basic concepts of communication. The first phase, learning how to communicate, is just to teach a child the concept of picking up a visual to communicate for an item that they want. While the second phase, distance and persistence, is for a child to gradually learn to get the PECS from the PECS book that will be further away for them and then to give it to another person who may also be further away from them. And thirdly, picture discrimination is to teach the child how to recognize and discriminate the visuals. Firstly, starting with just 2 visuals to gradually being able to open up the PECS book and flip pages. The PECS system actually has quite a bit of technical protocol in terms of how to teach PECS properly. And so we would encourage you to learn directly from PECS trainers and resources themselves. For the purpose of this lesson, we will demonstrate how Phase 1 is conducted. Phase 1 involves teaching children the physical exchange of an icon to access a desired item. For example, the iPad or a need like milk and biscuits. The materials you need include printed icons of highly preferred items, preferably with the word label of the item, and icons of basic needs such as toilet, help, no, food, water, mum and dad. To prepare these, you'll need a computer to design or download your icons, a printer to print them, a laminator to laminate them, and a pair of scissors to cut them into the desired shape for each of the icons. It would also be helpful to have a corner cutter to cut the edges of the PECS icons to keep them child-friendly to our kiddos' hands. Safety first. You also need a PECS book, usually a hardcover lever file, which is an appropriate size for the child, with some laminated papers or thick boards as pages inside the book. Velcro, which will be then used to stick the icons on the pages and on the cover as well. Since this is the introduction phase to PECS, it is critical to ensure that there are 2 adults working with the child. One is the communicative partner, with whom the child will actually be exchanging the icon for the item, and a second adult is the prompter, the adult that's behind the child to subtly prompt them to perform the exchange. The 3 steps for the child to perform the exchange to be considered successful are pick up, reach, and release. What is really important in this very beginning phase of PECS is that we want a child to initiate communication. This must be started from the beginning of PECS. Essentially, a child should go first in all communication. This means that the communicative partner should bring out a reinforcer, hold it and present it, then give it to the child. Allow the child to play with the item for a few seconds to assess if the child really wants it. Essentially, the first one is free. Tell your child give and hand over hand your child to give you back the item. The communicative partner will then hold it and again present it and make it very interesting to the child. As your child is reaching for the object, this is called initiating. This is where the physical prompter from the back will quickly shape this initiation into a communication sequence by immediately physically prompting the child to pick up the PECS, reach and release it into the communication partner's hand. The communication partner then immediately says the one-word label, for example, biscuit or car, and gives the item immediately. Very importantly is that the communication partner should entice the child non-verbally. Do not try and get the child's attention by calling their name or saying, "I have the book." This can become a verbal prompt. Don't even tap the book or tell the child, "Here's the picture," because all of those are prompts. If a child does not reach for the reinforcer, give him again the first one free. If a child plays with it, then you can try the PECS part again. But if a child does not play with it, not interested, just find a new item because you must use the most reinforcing item. If a child gets tired of the item after a couple of trials, just end the PECS trials at that time, or you could even offer another reinforcer. A child should always be initiating, and if a child is not, then end or switch the reinforcers. Some important quick reminders to consider for this phase includes: we need 2 adults for this phase to teach initiation, as it is a 2-person prompting step. Person 1 is the communicative partner. This person is actually responsible for interacting with the child. This includes arranging the training environment, so person 1 will have control of the reinforcers and the visuals, which will be presented one at a time. Remember, no verbal prompting, but instead you're using the strongest motivating item and you're enticing your child to non-verbally want the item. You're reinforcing your child's communication with the item within a half-second rule, together with verbalizing the one word clearly. Then you gotta time your open hand appropriately. Only open your hand when your child starts reaching to you. Don't forget to return the PECS picture back to the book while your child plays with the reinforcer. Now, person number 2, your role is the physical prompter. This person is responsible for prompting the child appropriately as well as collecting data. Person number 2 actually sits behind the child like a shadow. Remember to wait for your child's initiation. So essentially your child should reach or grab for the reinforcing item. Then only you would physically prompt your child to the PECS book to pick the visual up, reach to the communicator and release the visual. Systematically fade prompts. Also using backward chaining, pick up, reach, release, you start to fade that first. Don't reinforce the child. Physical prompter cannot reinforce because the person is going to be faded back completely. Next is, again, no verbal prompts are used during this phase. Use different types of reinforcers, food, toys, and they're all presented one at a time. Now remember to have clear visuals ready for these items, but only one visual on the book at one time. Picture discrimination will be taught later in phase 3. If your child at any time during the PECS requests for the item using their words, what should you do? You give the item immediately to your child. We want to reinforce the talking. We're not replacing it with PECS. PECS definitely needs to be taught, and so with any teaching strategy, it needs to be broken down, reinforced, and practiced. PECS actually suggests creating at least 30 to 40 opportunities throughout the day for the child to request. And after your child has been able to master this phase, you can start to move on to phase 2, which is essentially increasing the distance to firstly the communication partner, and then you're increasing the distance to the book as well. This essentially teaches a child to persist in their communication. Phase 1 was all about initiation and spontaneous communication, essentially to teach a child the whole concept of just exchanging a visual for something that they want. And then phase 2 makes it a bit more difficult for the child, encouraging and teaching a child to persist in their communication. Because in real life, the item a child wants, their PECS book, the person they're trying to communicate with, is not going to be all set up in front of them. That's just a temporarily simulated setup just to teach them. Okay, quick pop quiz. Check if you've been paying attention. Which of the 3 key ABA strategies is this whole concept of starting with phase 1, then gradually having to travel to phase 2? Is it break skills down? Is it pair with reinforcement? Or is it provide sufficient practice? Break skills down, yes. Always start where a child will be most successful, and then only you gradually build up. Okay, one more quick pop quiz. Is this whole strategy of PECS, is it a preventative strategy? Is it a teaching strategy? Or is it a reactive strategy? Yep, this is certainly a teaching strategy. It's teaching a child a brand new skill and a brand new concept. Now, a frequently asked question we get is parents asking us if this method of communication would prevent their child from developing verbal abilities, since it uses mainly visuals. Actually, contrary to that, PECS has been proven to help develop users' verbal language. Most importantly, PECS communication has also been shown to help reduce inappropriate behaviors like tantrums. For the PECS communicators who are yet to develop verbal language abilities, just having icons to visual icons of items that they need at any point in time will help them communicate effectively. Because desired items are commonly represented on the icons, it reduces or even eliminates confusion for their communicative partner to understand what is being communicated. Now, it's your turn. Firstly, identify the most preferred items that your child really loves. Next is to prepare your materials. A PECS book, which is a hardcover lever file for easy use with laminated papers or thick boards as the pictures inside the book. Velcro strips to be used to attach the icons on the book cover as well as the pages inside. The visual icons of highly reinforcing items and of basic needs, complete with the word label for each item. Design and download the icons on a computer, print them out using a printer, laminate them using a laminator, cut using scissors or a cutter as well as a corner cutter to remove sharp edges of each icon. The actual reinforcing items for your child. And last but not least is to get your partner, because you need 2 people for this practice. Well, that's it from us. We do hope this has been helpful, and please do not hesitate to contact us if you are stuck or need help again. Again, do refer to the PECS website, their manual and YouTube videos directly. And we will see you in the next lesson on communicating using devices. Thank you very much for your support. And with the amount of interest we have received online, we've actually started providing online services, and I've worked with clients in other states of Malaysia, as well as other countries such as New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China, and Brunei. So do get in touch with us for more information by scanning this QR code. If you haven't already, do check out our online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the lesson videos, corresponding articles, and downloadables available for you for free. Stay updated through our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And do click on the subscribe and follow buttons to get more information. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.